daily driver. It's a 96 240 S14. I got it off a trade. Drove the stock motor 50,000 miles, and it was getting pretty worn out up at 250k. So it currently has a Beams 3SGE Altezza RS200 swap in it. I get a lot of questions about the beam swap, so I can kind of run through those. Question one, is it faster than a KA? Well, why would you put such a weak motor in a 240? It comes with a decent one, at least for 4-cylinder. I have two 1JZ 240s for the track, and what a lot of people don't realize is that this is my daily driver. Of course I can put a 1JZ in it, boost around town, but the reality is I'm just sitting in traffic all the time. The pros and advantages that the Beams 3SGE has over the KA motor: number one, it has no stupid timing chain, because that sucks. I had so many issues between the chain guide falling apart and the oil pump making a rattling noise on startup. I removed the upper guides, all that crap. The Beams motor is timing belt. It's got an iron block, dual VVTi, 6-speed trans. That's cool. I got 6 gear. Reverse gate is like all the way left, like first gear, but it's left more on a spring. So it's kind of funky because there's no lock for that. So I'll be at a light, and if I'm not paying attention, I will accidentally put it in reverse instead of first gear. Motor swap was cheap. It was like $900. So I had a budget of $3,000 to get the motor swapped, and picked it up November 2018. Around March, I put it in 3 days. Nothing really crazy. The mounts I got from Excessive, I had to modify them. It wasn't really a great solution, but there's better ones out there now. I mean, the gas mileage is amazing. I recorded without AC 38 miles to the gallon on a 2-hour drive. I do have the AC hooked up now, so I'm sure it's a bit less, but if I was running a 1JZ, or some power heater, driving down the road with my foot, I don't think that, I'd be just throwing money away. It's definitely a good economical choice for a swap, and the best way I can compare the Beams swap versus the KA swap is if you were to take the power band on the KA and just completely 180 shift it to the other end of the RPM range, that's what you get with the Beams. You get all this top end after 4,000 RPMs, 4,500 RPMs. So mainly off ramps, turns, when you're in a low gear, it really just picks up and pulls. Where on the con side of it, you're in a higher gear, you don't really have all that torque like the KA, trying to get up hills, or even what I would imagine breaking a drift loose. This is my daily. I don't plan to drift it. It's not, I don't street drift. I've driven probably 200 times on the track throughout my driving career, and I've just learned that I want to keep my license, and I just don't see the point of driving on the street. So I'm kind of grateful that I went with this swap, because it's more important for me to drive safely, keep my license, have good gas mileage, and at the same time have something unique and more modern and, reliable. So far I haven't really had any issues, minus a couple little leaks from the get-go, but what do you expect from a motor sitting for so many years? Today I am going to pick up a package from USPS. This is the first time I've had this happen to me, where I was sent a package that happened on the first attempt. So I went on the website, I looked it up, figured it'd take about 2 or 3 attempts. Turns out it's up to the carrier's previous knowledge, whatever that means. Oh well, it's a good time to go pick up some stamps as well, and then I get to make sure I get my package. So 20 minutes later, I hope everything's in there. Oh well. The post office is pretty busy with the holidays right now. Here's both my 240s in the garage. I've been driving the brown one all season, and it's now time to put that one down and start picking this one back up. Here's the rear radiator, tube rear setup I've been working on a little bit, but it's been on the back burner since I've been driving all summer. To the rear window. Got a little bit more to go. I bought this car about a year ago and just decided to drive it a couple events and find the weak points to it, and started tearing it apart. Just a few little mods like the seat and the shifter. It's got a 1JZ VVTi, pretty much stock. The front suspension is coming off and being replaced for a later video. Hey YouTube. Hey YouTube. Today we got a package from Drift Motion. Let's see what's inside. These are 1000cc Bosch Injectors from Drift Motion. So I had questions and concerns about which injectors to go with. My horsepower range is supposed to be about 450 to 400 horsepower, and I was pretty concerned about running too high of an injector rating. After talking to a couple guys, and for the future making a $500–600 investment, I decided it would be best to just go with something that will be able to do just about anything I need. The con I heard would be some sort of a startup issue, too much fuel, or not having the correct amount of percentage usage for the injector. Correct me if I'm wrong, that as long as it's correctly tuned, you shouldn't have an issue with that. So we'll see what happens. These are from Drift Motion. They have like an 11mm inlet. Should be somewhat plug and play, despite these pigtails I have to wire. Alright, put these aside. Next piece I have here is, we got the air temperature sensor. It's AEM air temp sensor. Looks like we got some kind of a bung, weld-on bung with a little pin kit, adapters, and the sensor itself. Boost control. So these are going to be all the sensors that I'll be using with my standalone ECU. So this is a 3-port, seems like a basic electrical boost control solenoid. I'm used to the manual type, so this will be kind of interesting to get this working properly, but good luck to me, right? We got some instructions in here, but all that's not important right now. So yeah, that's it for the drift motion package for today. And alright, we got some other goodies here from Link ECU. This is the 4-bar map sensor. Same deal as I guess the temperature sensor. It has its own pins and plug for wiring in, and that's your inlet port to register pressure. When you're picking out a map sensor, you have to account for the amount of pressure of boost that you'll be running on your setup, but 10 pounds of that will be in vacuum, so you don't necessarily get the amount of pressure that you need for the amount of boost that you're running. You have to kind of overshoot the map sensor. I'll only be running maybe 18 psi or so, 4-bar map sensor could easily cover that and more. This I know nothing about. This is the expansion loom. I bought it from suggestion. Looks like it's some kind of extra harness that goes with the Link ECU. And as you see, we got a couple wires here. You got your plug, and I'll pull up the ECU in a minute to see where this goes, because this is all new to me. I'm imagining that these are going to be special inputs for your ECU, for your sensors, like this map sensor and the temp sensor and whatever else is necessary. On this expansion loom, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wires. Maybe a power ground and 6 inputs. Who knows? We'll find out. Here's the Link ECU. Plug and play. This is the original ECU box. And as you can see, for JZX100 VVTi, you're going to remove the board and put this one in, and that's your standalone ECU. I got really lucky. Well, unfortunately, my original swap had a bad ECU, so I had to buy another one, and I've hanged on to the old one for a decent amount of time, not even knowing I was going standalone. So perfect candidate for this ECU to be swapped over. I still have the stock ECU in case there's any faults. Got some kind of a computer hookup. There's another plug with USB. This is some kind of pressure sensor for whatever altitude that you're at. You've got some input connections here. The expansion loom will be put into here. But yeah, thank you to Link ECU for their US Drift driver support program. I was able to apply and collect this ECU to be using for my setup for US Drift, hopefully in the 2020 to 2021 season, depending on how soon we get this build done. And here will be the intercooler that I'm running. Thanks to Lee Alexander, handed it over. Awesome. Not too big, not too small. The throttle response is really great with these short intercoolers. I've never had the intercooler overheat from drifting. I don't really see it necessary to be running a large intercooler, so this will be perfect. It's got the ends welded on already. Looks good to me. Here's our drift motion high flow, the stock turbo, bored out with a steel wheel, replacing the ceramic wheel, rebuilt turbo. On their website, it supports roughly 22 pounds of boost. A lot of people are wondering why would you spend all this money not get some immense big badass turbo setup. And from my experience, I've ran US Drift for multiple years now. The biggest battle for going into Pro-Am that I've seen a lot of these guys and myself go through is trying to just get through the season or make it to the event and come back from it. Most of the times what you're going to see is mechanical failures, not enough tires, not the correct amount of grip, you name it, broken parts. I've always ran the stock 1JZ for a couple of years now, and I really love the reliability of it, but these guys are just getting so much more horsepower on Pro 2 level cars that I'm competing with. Makes sense, like, to step up to 600 horsepower, but I do not want to deal with the repercussions of a high horsepower setup. I want to be able to drive the car. So yes, I am spending all this money on standalone and sensors and tune and for this dinky turbo. The plan is to aim for running a high amount of boost, trying to get up to 425 horsepower. Just try to keep it reliable. With this setup, I could easily swap injectors and turbo. Actually, I don't even need to swap the turbo. I've ran this turbo on the stock ECU with no issues except for running excessively rich. It came on the car when I bought it, and I immediately removed it and switched to the stock turbo to see the difference. And really, without the tune, the power feels just about the same. The plan is to have a setup that I can interchange between stock and higher power, but keep it well under 500 horsepower because retain the drivetrain and not use a heavy amount of tires. I've had pretty good luck with my stock 1J setup in the past. I'm just missing a little bit of oomph, so I'm hoping that this setup will help support me. And there you have it. Most of the stuff that I'll need to get the car tuned for 2020. So this is super awkward for me. I'm not used to filming and recording myself, but I want to make content for my viewers. I would really appreciate any feedback you guys could give me. If you have a better way to do this, or if you know more information, please drop it down in the comments below. I plan to add more videos like this for 2020 besides most of my raw drifting clips, because I don't think that there's anything personal about me just uploading videos with raw drifting. So that's personally my favorite footage to watch, but at the same time there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I feel that I could contribute for you guys, so for the benefit of myself and for the benefit of everybody else. And yeah, please like and subscribe. Thank you.